My name is Noah Doherty. I'm the race director for Coldwater. I do the whole dirt series, so you may have seen me around. Welcome, everybody. This is going to be the race briefing for the Coldwater Rumble Trail Runs happening this weekend, January 16th. We got distances anywhere from 4 miles all the way up to 100 miles. This is our winter 100-miler, so pretty exciting stuff. Looks like we're going to have a nice turnout, so thank you, everybody, for joining us. A couple things I wanted to go over real quick. We'll start right at the top with COVID, since that is at the forefront for everybody. We have to go through a lot of permitting and additional details, steps, processes to get our permits approved. So we need to make sure everybody abides by that and make sure that we can keep racing in person, because it's not happening everywhere and we feel lucky, and we want to make sure we follow those rules in order to keep racing. So masking up, that is a required process. Masking up all the time. You will, when you get there, mask on anytime you're at our Rumble headquarters, if you will. So anywhere near the start-finish line, we need to have masks on. Social distancing, obviously, it's kind of everything that we have to do in general in our everyday lives already, but we need to make sure, even though we're outside, that we're following those rules as well. When you are about to start your race, we'll have a start line separate from the finish line. We've started doing that, so there's less kind of passing on courses where there's loops. So you'll get admitted into the starting corral once you take your temperature. It's a no-touch temperature take. They just do it really quick. That's about 5 minutes before your race start, and then you leave your mask on. We have like little dots within there to keep everybody about 6 feet apart. And then you'll start your race. You don't have to run with a mask on. We ask you to be courteous. If you're passing people or if you're in a group of people, just think about other people in case they're not as comfortable with you as you are. So masking up when you can. And then when you get to aid stations and you're talking to volunteers or staff, please put a mask on there. It's not a lot. We just ask that you make sure you do that and just help us out and making sure we're staying safe and everybody else is staying safe. So everybody will be running in wave starts, which means we'll have up to 20 people per wave. So when you come into your starting crowd, there'll be no more than 20 people at a wave, and they go off every 5 minutes. So the 100-milers, for example, will be starting at 6 a.m. this year, which is earlier than in previous years. We had to move it up because with the waves, instead of starting over about an hour and 10, we start over 3 hours. So we're spreading people out, which helps with the people, congregating at the start finish, which helps with parking, which helps with on-course traffic and stuff like that. So thank you for your patience as we adjust those things and kind of make it work as we move forward. So 100-milers, they start at 6 a.m. So first wave will be at 6, then 6:05, 6:10, 6:15, 6:20, I think is about as far as we have to go. Maybe 6:25. We're looking at just about 90 people in the 100-miler, which is great. We're excited about it. It's the most Coldwater's had. So thank you. And, hopefully we'll have great weather again and get all of you to the finish line. So then there's a gap, and then we go to the 52-miler, then the 52Ks, and kind of down the line. All of the start times are on the website, so please make sure you review that. They have changed. They were changed officially last week at some point. So depending on when you signed up, you may think you were starting at a different time. The last race starts at 9:30 a.m. That is the 4-mile. So those are a little bit later, but you're on a different course. It kind of worked out well that way. So just take a look at that. Make sure you're aware of what's happening. Because of the wave starts, cutoffs for longer distances have changed. Not by much, though, because we're going off the last wave in the 100-miler. So instead of starting at 7 a.m., you're starting around 6:25, 6:30. So everything kind of just shifted 30 minutes. It's really not too much of a difference. It's still 32 hours. So if you're running the 100-miler, it's still 32 hours no matter where you start. So, or no matter if you're last or not, I should say. The earlier ones, technically, you get an extra couple minutes. And also 100-milers, make sure since you're starting at 6, you need a headlamp. It's going to be pitch black at that time. It'll start getting light. So civil twilight, they say, is about 7:03. So right around 7 a.m., you'll start to see some daylight, and you might be able to get away with it. But all 100-mile waves will start in the dark. And even 52-milers, you will start your first couple waves probably you probably want a headlamp. So in the start, and there's graphics online, we're on this big, huge turf area at Estrella Mountain Regional Park, which is right at the foothills of the Estrella Mountains, Sierra Estrellas. And it's a huge turf area, and there's a bunch of ramadas around. We're at 20 and 21. When you're running, you will be on a paved road for like a third of a mile at the beginning and end of each loop. That gets you onto the single track. So in the beginning, you have, say, a quarter mile to a third of a mile from the start line to single track. So a short out and back that gets you to complete your loop, and then you go back out. So after that, you're on single track and you climb for a little ways. So it's up to you guys on the headlamp thing, but just make sure you have it, because you don't want to start in the dark and roll an ankle before you even get a mile in. So just keep that stuff in mind. As far as that goes, with that out and back, also on that graphic, you'll see that is where, if you were to have a crew for, say, like the ultra distances, that's where they would post up. We don't want crews in the aid station, so that won't be happening this year. So normally, I think in the past, you've probably been able to have a crew person run up, fill up your water, so that when you get there, you already have full water. Like, we can't have additional people in the aid station. We just got to minimize those people and contact points and stuff. So if there is a crew, they would stay kind of out of the main area, out of the main aid station area. And you, as the participant, will be able to go in and fill up your bottles and get food and stuff from there. Or if you have additional stuff, they have their own little spot that you'll hit each loop. Same thing at the aid stations. I'll mention, with COVID in mind and reducing contact points, our food is going to be more prepackaged, single serving. So just be kind of like grab and go. There's not like bowls of M&Ms and stuff like that. So most of the time, if not every time, a volunteer will actually hand you the food so you don't touch anything on the table. Then you go from there. Similarly, if you have a flask or a bladder or something you need filled, you'll be the one holding it. So you take the top off, hold it. We have pitchers of stuff, so it'll be quick, won't hold you up, but you have to hold it, and then you re-screw the top on. In the past, I know we've been able to do stuff while you're able to change your shoes or socks or whatever. That won't be happening. So just keep that in mind. They're there to help, and they're doing a fantastic job with these kind of alterations to our aid station, but just keep that in mind. If you need stuff done, ask politely. They're there to help you, but make sure you're being kind and, friendly to the volunteers, as most of you always are. So there is food later on in the day. I'm not going to get into all the details of that. I posted it in the runner guide. So those of you out there for 8, 10, 30 hours, 32 hours, that is good information you have. As the day goes on, we have more substantial food than your standard aid station fare. So, but that can be found in the runner guide, which is on the website. And Patty kind of designed the whole thing there, and she does a pretty good job of sticking to that. Just be patient in case we don't have it at the exact second that you arrive. We're doing our best to keep everybody going. As far as the course goes, one other major change that affects the 52 mile and the 100 mile is our washing machine style. Normally we have washing machine, which means one loop clockwise, one loop counterclockwise. So you're kind of going back and forth. We've changed that this year, similar, trying to avoid passing and oncoming traffic and stuff. So everybody will be running in the same clockwise direction. That means all 5 loops are the same direction for all 20 miles, 52 mile. All 3 of your loops are clockwise as well. So it doesn't affect anybody else. And we understand there's still passing. It's a loop course. There's no way to avoid passing, but we're trying to minimize these points. And this seemed like the best way to do it. So that's how we're going to go. So our ribbons, if you haven't run with us, and you'll hear this on Saturday as well, but they're orange and black polka dot ribbons. These are the correct way ribbons. They will get you from start to finish. They are strewn throughout the course, probably no more than a quarter mile everywhere. This is a reflective medallion. Those also shine really bright on your headlamp. They will help you at night. And, at this course specifically, it's almost entirely single or double track. There's like a couple short sections where you're on either a dirt road, getting from single track to single track, or on that paved road right at the beginning and end of your loop. But otherwise, it's pretty much single track. And sometimes the desert trails can play tricks on you at night. So just make sure you're following these ribbons and not ending up on a wash or some other random thing. It seems to happen late at night, 60, 70 miles in. So just, if you go a ways without seeing these orange and black ribbons, then you'll probably need to, rethink where you're at and make sure you're on the trail. You don't want to do extra miles if you're doing 100 miles already, probably. So orange and black polka dot, that is the correct way ribbon. These are the wrong way ribbons. Blue and white checker, wrong way, okay? So silly little rhyme. Blue and white checker, check yourself. You're going the wrong way. Find the orange and black polka dot. There's also signs at critical turns. There are a handful of critical turns on this race. These are what they look like. So it'll actually say your distance, 4 mile, the direction you go, okay? These are the other ones. These are the colors. Generally, they match your bib. So 4 miles, the shortest distance, they have a blue bib. 100 mile will have a white and orange bull bib. So they have like a specific bib, white, red bib, kind of go down the line. But it says on your sign, 52 mile, 52K. Do not look at any other sign. And I always say this because inevitably at this race, people end up skipping a section of the loop and coming back, and their watch is off by 4.5 miles or something because they didn't complete the loop. So make sure you know your course going into it. You can't rely on necessarily a volunteer. They'll do their best to make sure you're in the right direction, but they don't know if you're on loop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they don't know, so make sure you know where you're at and where you need to be going, okay? It's very important, and only follow your signs. Don't just follow people as they run through, because same thing, you don't know what distance they're running. You don't know if they're going the right direction either, but these signs will tell you exactly where to go. So follow those throughout. So that's a big thing, just the non-washing machine. Make sure you're doing that. Couple other quick things. All of this stuff pretty much is in your race guide. I'm just kind of going through that. I know some of you are traveling here, and it's usually like low 40s, which probably sometimes can dip into the high 30s in some of the washes and stuff, which might sound nice depending on where you're coming from, but it is a brisk night out there. There's no humidity or anything to keep any heat in once the sun goes down. So at 6 o'clock, 5:30, when the sun starts going down, you know it pretty quickly. So don't be caught out there freezing cold, thinking that you'll be fine. Just have something with you and be prepared. Similarly, during the day, even though it might only be 65 or 70 degrees, I don't know the exact forecast right now, but that can feel hot because there's zero shade. So everywhere you go, the sun is just beaming down on you. So just keep that in mind as you're preparing for your race. There's a corrugate wash in the back half of your loop. It's just over a mile. It's pretty sandy. That is the trail. So if you were a gator person, this might be a good race to have them. At least try it out and see. But that's just about a mile right before you get to Peterson Aid, which is the far aid. Crews, pacers, spectators. This is another thing that's been altered quite a bit because of COVID, and that's going to continue at least for the near future. Crews, so like shorter distances, 4 mile, 20K, 20 mile, really even the 52K. We don't want, any distance. We don't want people at the start. So we're just trying to have participants at the start, staff, volunteers, to minimize the amount of people, because that will be the number one time when the most people will be around, those first 3 hours. Plus at that time, we'll start having people loop and stuff. So we don't want more people than we need to have there. So, and then at finishes, we only can have like the ultra distances, because it'll be later in the afternoon and more spread out and stuff. And like I mentioned, there is that little crew area that keeps you out of the main headquarters, but still right near the start finish, where your runner can come and, say hi or get their clothes or whatever they need to do for you there. So, and that graphic will be on the race briefing. You can see it online as well. We'll put it in the runner email, but, so like no start spectators, and we really need to like minimize the amount of crew and spectators at all. But that will be okay for those longer distances as the day goes on, because it gets spread out, like I said, between anywhere from 6 to 32 hours. So we understand it's a long ways, and it's super awesome that people are running this many miles, and we want you to be able to celebrate that with somebody. We just have to be cautious, and we need to know about how many people are there. So that's that. Pacers, same thing for the ultra distances that are allowed them, the 52 mile, 100 mile, that is fine. It's one pacer at a time, no muling, the whole deal. But just stop at the timing tent before you head out with your runner, so that we know there's an additional person on course, and rules apply to you as well. Mask, temperature check, all of that stuff. Okay. So That's the Pacers. There is camping again. I think some of you have signed up for tent rental. We set that up in the morning on Friday. So by Friday afternoon, it's either 2 or 12. We'll have that set up early afternoon though. And it's just behind the turf area at Ramada's 20 and 21. There's a grass area. You just right there. So it's close to the start finish. And that is, so you don't park there. You walk your stuff in, tent, and then you're in the parking lot nearby. And that will be allowed. There's no RVs or trailers in the main parking area there. We need all those spaces for cars so we don't lose spaces putting in RVs and stuff. There's an RV area that's just an open dirt lot off Trailhead Drive, which is close, and also on the course or off the course. And you can post up in there. We need that for parking as well. So keep that in mind when you're taking spaces up. Or another RV space is over by the rodeo grounds, which you can look on the Estrella Mountain Regional website. And rodeo grounds, there's actually an RV area, but you can park over there, and then you'll have a little pass that you're with the race. You just pay us at registration or pack a pickup, and then you'll be fine there. So more details can be found on the website on that. Packet pickup, there's a couple options for packet pickup. We've started doing packet pickups at our headquarters here, which is just south of the airport, Sky Harbor Airport. So we'll do Thursday evening. I think it's 4 to 6 p.m. And it's kind of just a drive-through, and everything's pre-packaged for you now. Aaron and Brianna do a great job. So you come in, you get a little bag. It'll have your pins and your bib. And if you got a race shirt, it'll have your race shirt in there. And then for the 100 milers where you have additional kind of race goodies, those will be in a little duffel bag, and I'll have it ready to go. So it's just kind of, we just check you off the list and you're go. So it's pretty seamless, and it's quick and easy. So that's Thursday night. Friday, we actually do it at the park. So the regional parks all have a $7 entry fee. For this, they give you a pass, or you don't have to pay. So if you're just coming in to pick up your packet on Friday afternoon at Estrella Mountain, you would come to our start finish at Ramada's 20 and 21. Same thing. You just get out, walk up, grab your stuff. It's all packaged for you, and then you go. If you're planning on staying, going on a run, looking around, whatever, you will pay the $7. And then the pass is good all day. You can come and go as much as you want. And then same thing on race morning. There's a $7 entry fee that you guys will pay when you arrive. So keep that in mind. But that is Friday afternoon. If you come there, it's kind of nice, and you see the start finish. You can kind of see the layout of the park, and maybe like what parking is going to kind of look like. And then obviously we'll have race morning packet pickup as well. I think before the 100 mile at 6, so it starts like 45 minutes before at 5:15, and then it'll go all the way through the last wave of the 4 mile. So that was race morning. So Thursday night at our warehouse headquarters, Friday at the park, Saturday morning. So 3 options for you, since there are so many people and so many distances. We want to make sure if you wanted to get in advance, you can. Those are your 3 choices. Okay, a couple other things I want to go over. Drop bags, dropping out of the race, and then our medical, kind of 2 of those go hand in hand. We don't want you to drop. You aren't coming here to drop. You're probably stronger than you think. And we always say, keep going, because everybody's tired. Don't quit because you're tired. However, we understand things happen, injuries happen, stuff like that. If you need to drop from the race, do everything you can to get to an aid station or back to the finish line. And we have to be told that you dropped. Otherwise, we don't know if you dropped. It happens all the time. People just leave for whatever reason, and then hours go by and we're looking for this person. And so we need your assistance with that. If you drop from the race, let somebody know and make sure they're aware of your bib number or last name or both. And then we can put it in our system so we know you're accounted for and off course. Our medical team is out there the entire duration of the event, on the runner guide and on the main website. They're called MedStar Solutions. There's a phone number on there that would be good to program into your phone, because it's basically a 24-hour hotline, and it dispatches them before calling 911. So they can deal with a lot of things. They're a great team. They can do a lot of things right on site to kind of mobilize somebody in distress. So call them first, or me. My number's in the runner guide, I believe, and I'm there the entire duration of the event too. So call us before calling 911 is all we ask. So because most of the time we can handle it kind of in-house, and then if they need to go on, then they can easily make that decision too. So you'll see that with MedStar. That kind of goes along with the drops. If you are, just communicate with us is all we ask, because we need that to make sure that it's a successful event for everybody and for the future. Drop bags. There will be, when you come to the start-finish line, there's going to be a remote drop bag sign. There'll be a main/finish line drop bag. And those finish line drop bags, you'll be accessed every loop. So depending on your distance, every loop you'll come there and you can access them there. They won't leave. The remote drop bags will be going to the Coldwater aid station. That's the only drop bag that's remote. And you hit that on each loop twice technically. So it's the farthest you'll go is 20 miles if you don't have it anywhere but your start finish, but there is the option at Coldwater. It's a big dirt lot. The Surprise Running Club, who's awesome, they man it for us every year. It's a big tent and a big parking lot. And that's a big pinch point for the course as well. So when I was talking before about making sure you know your course, that is a major spot to know your course and know when you arrive into this parking lot at this aid station, which direction you're coming and going from. So anyway, Surprise Running Club is there. They're fantastic. They know the course. They know everything. So they're happy to help. There will be drop bag section there. And next to it, say you're done, put it in a used drop bag area. So like a 52 miler or a 52K, if you're going to have a drop bag, put it in the used section so that when somebody comes and goes, they don't have to guess who's been there and who's done. Do that when you're done, not if you have another loop or something else. Otherwise, it'll end up at the main headquarters. Similarly, I mentioned this on the website. If you haven't seen the 52K, every year people finish in, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. And obviously our aid station's open for another 24 hours. So they want their drop bag. They want to leave. They're cold. They're tired. Then they don't have a drop bag. So just keep in mind that 52K, it might take a while for your drop bags to come back. We'll do our best to get them periodically, but just keep in mind in the 52K, if you really don't need a drop bag out there, that's something to consider, not having to wait when your race is done. It's fine to have it out there. We just want to let you know in advance. All right, I think that just about wraps everything up. Trying not to go too long here. Stuff adds up because there are so many distances, and with the wave starts and all the COVID and those guidelines, we want to make sure everybody's aware of those things going into the race to make sure that they aren't frustrated or surprised by anything. So give yourself couple extra minutes when you arrive Saturday, because you won't be able to drive directly to the Ramadas. That road is closed. We have to get a permit for that. So the road is closed and you have to park around. So it might take an extra couple minutes to park. Keep that in mind. But we're excited to have everybody. It's great to be able to race in person. And it's nice to see people are ready to get out and do some big runs here to kick off 2021. So thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions that you cannot find on the website, you can reach out. We'll do our best to answer them in a timely manner. Last thing would be wave starts. Registration closes on Monday night. So after that, we will assign waves. So that'll be posted on the website. It'll go in the runner email on Wednesday-ish, and it'll tell you exactly when you're starting. So if you're in the 4-miler, you'll know if you're starting at 9:30 or 9:45 or whatever it is by that, okay? That link will be on the website, and it's super easy to follow along. Also, along with the timing for the wave starts, if you're looking for somebody's looking to follow you along, friends or family, we have the live timing. It's been relatively successful. Depends on sometimes our cell service, but that's just live.aravaiparunning.com. That's also found on the website and in the runner guide, and you'll just look for the Coldwater Rumble logo/link, click on that, and then you can find your runner throughout. We've gotten a little more successful. We figured out some new tricks with Andy kind of leading the charge there to make sure everybody's good. So wave starts, COVID, your actual start time, parking, make sure you're prepared for that. And then also those people running through the night, you are running for a long time in the darkness. This is January, so it's one of the longest nights you're going to run in any month. So 12 hours or so from 5:30 to 7 a.m. So keep that in mind as far as bringing headlamps, bringing extra batteries, bringing extra headlamps, all of those things to make sure you have a successful race. And have a good experience at the Coldwater Rumble. One other thing I want to add on that is kind of in line with the race goodies. So the 52 milers will get a custom wood medal that we make in-house with our Aravaipa Artworks department. And then the 100 milers will get buckles. And then Louis, who heads up our Artworks department, will be out there on site and can do custom engraving on site for you. So say your 52 miler award, you want it to say your name, finish time, he could do that. So we could do it right on site. I think it was $15 for the engraving, somewhere in there. And then takes just a few minutes. So you can do it right on site, get it and go. And it's really cool. Then it, makes it easier to remember going on. So also with the 100 milers, this would probably be more of a order there and get it after, but he might be able to do some on site. 100 milers can get a custom buckle holder. And then he's even going to try doing engraving glassware. So this is kind of a pilot system for us. We've never done it before. He's been kind of troubleshooting back at the office and stuff. But so the glasses for everybody else, 52K down, you get a finisher glass. And on that glass, you'd be able to etch into it your finish time and name and probably your distance if you wanted that. So depending on the space and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. He'll be on site at the store. Sometime Saturday, you would see Louis out there. He'll have the machines. So you can get your custom buckle holder. And then similarly with the Sonoran 200 runners, that is people that have ran Javelina 100 in October. Technically, yeah, it was like ran in October, coming back to run Coldwater. That's our Sonoran 200. It's 200 milers in the winter of 20 to 21. You get a similar thing as well. So that'll be your finisher award. In the past, we've done growlers. I believe we are out of the growlers. We are moving on and so you get both buckles in the same holder. So some people had that last year. And so that's the Sonoran 200. That's a few brave souls coming back for more. So those as well would be kind of an afterward situation. So keep that in mind. So if you're out there, look for your 52 mile award. You can try the glassware right on site, and 100 milers if you wanted to do a buckle holder when you finish. You can custom that and have that sent out or possibly done right on site. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time, and I'm going to end it there. So we will see you next week.